So I will ask...
You got this, girl.
Oh my gosh, the actor has to come up with their own line. Okay.
Nightmare. Hi, everyone. Welcome to BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book podcast. I'm Nikki.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Tilly.
This week, we've got something a little different for all of you. We're so excited to have debut author Mazey Eddings joining us. Yeah! Her contemporary romance novel, A Brush with Love, is out today, March 1st, 2022. Thank you so much to the publisher, Macmillan St. Martin's Griffin, for providing us with free advanced reading copies to feature in this episode. Welcome to the podcast, Mazey. Can you give our listeners a quick synopsis of the book?
Yes, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. But so A Brush with Love is about two dental students who trade fillings for feelings. But that one either lands or it doesn't. So I'm like always like, let's try it out. They trade fillings for feelings as they navigate the messiness of being an adult and not really knowing what that means, and kind of figuring out what their passions are in life and opening themselves up to loving themselves and being loved by others. It has anxiety rep in the main character, Harper. She has a generalized anxiety disorder that she kind of grapples with throughout the story. And they both have very different kind of end goals of what they want out of their lives, and they fight to make it work together as they fall in love.
Oh, what a delight.
Thank you.
I personally had such a fun time reading the book. I was like cackling at times, and at times my heartstrings were really plucked, and I just had such a fun time. So it's such a strong debut novel. Just congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
It was so much fun. I tabbed this book, and I have so many tabs where I was just laughing at all of these amazing one-liners that you put in. Like the character too was just like chef's kiss with like the one-liners. I could not get enough. And also Judy with the booty.
I know.
Oh yeah.
The true star of the novel.
Right?
Truly.
I have two Maine Coon cats. So as soon as I read about Judy, I was like, yes, this is it. This is for me.
I'm like starstruck right now. I love Maine Coons, but I'm also like, do they even exist? Like, are they real? You know? Like,
oh, yeah. Like, are they royalty in disguise?
Yeah.
Trust me, with all the cat hair in my house, they exist.
Nikki will have to show you a photo later so
I
you
will.
can see in the flesh they exist.
Please just like flood my inbox with them. I want nothing but cat pics.
I started reading this book while I was waiting during a hair appointment, and I took a little photo to share. But I was like trying to hide my giggles while I was at the hair salon because I didn't want people to look at me. But I was just like, this is so much fun, because I try to like, keep it cool. I'm in public. But I had so much fun. I thought that Harper was really relatable. I could relate to a lot of things that she was going through with her inner dialogue in terms of her anxiety. Yeah. So, yeah, I had so much fun. I can't wait to talk about it. I can't wait to read what's next. I hope Judy gets her own spin-off book. I'm waiting.
I was really hoping for Farah to get a spin-off romance. So that's my pitch to you. I think she needs it. I want to read it. So that's free idea for you right there.
Dude, I'm like dying to write like a little novella for Farah. Like, could you imagine? That would be so fun. Yeah. No, I've like thought about it too. I'm like, okay, who does Farah end up with in all of this?
She needs a good person to love her and to support her dreams. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of brilliant. Watch me like pitch that next week.
It's a sign. Yeah.
That is a sign. You're giving me the push I need.
3 readers.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, you're giving me the push I need. I'm very excited about this.
Perfect. Look at us making change happen here at BYOB.
Yeah.
So before we get into our questions for you, I thought we could start off with something fun that we do for all of our guests on this podcast. So we're just going to give you some rapid fire questions. No pressure. It's all going to be okay. Just to get to know you a little bit better and have our listeners get to learn you a bit more. Or learn about you a bit more. So
that felt like a very Harper mix up right there. Don't Dan.
Right. I told you, relatable. So, like I said, no pressure. What is your favorite color?
Yellow.
Oh,
Yeah.
she was right ready with that one.
Yeah, that one like is locked down for years.
Yellow is kind of an underrepresented fave in a lot
Thank
for a lot of
you.
people.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know what?
Personally,
Tilly?
can't wear yellow, but
Same.
you know.
Oh no.
It's-
I don't own a single article of clothing that's yellow. Like
Right.
it could not look worse on me, but I
Same.
still love it. Like if I could just like have everything around me be yellow, I'd be very happy.
I love that. Great. Okay, well, great first answer. Wow, starting off so strong. Okay, what about your favorite drink? So this can be non-alcoholic or alcoholic, whatever you so choose.
Okay. Alcoholic drink. I'm going to go, you know what? Okay. I have two, sorry. A French 75 because it's like kind of obscure, and in my hipster days I was like, oh, a French 75 please. I don't even know what's fully in it. I know it has champagne and I know it has sugar. So like
The two ingredients.
yeah,
Sold.
that's all that matters. But like my actual answer is probably a gin and tonic.
Yes.
It's just a classic. Yeah, it's a classic. It's like you can make it really strong, and sorry, my cat is like getting in the way. You can make it really strong, or you can not. I prefer it strong, but you know, and I think like it's hard to mess up, you know, like I've never had a super bad gin and tonic. So yeah. And then non-alcoholic, I feel like unsweetened iced tea. It's kind of boring, but also kind of, you know, fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, patio time, yeah.
Exactly.
Very patio time.
Very patio time.
It
Yeah.
is.
My like New England chic phase is unsweet iced tea.
So what is your favorite book that you read last year?
Okay, so this is like the world's most impossible question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hitting you with the hard ones.
I'm gonna say Take a Hint, Danny Brown was like, thank you.
Talia Hibbert forever.
Yes.
Forever. Put her in the Hall of Fame. I could not. Like, I mean, has a more perfect, like, she just writes the most perfect books, and I love them all. And I'm always like, there's no way this next one can be as good as, like, I mean, she has like 30 books, and I'm like, there's no way the next one can be as good. And then it is, and it's better. And I'm just like, how does she do it? And yeah, so I mean, hands down forever, I think she's just like the queen of romance novels.
Goddess, yes.
Yes.
We
Truly.
all love her here.
Oh,
So
good.
You're
Good.
in good company.
You're my people.
And last but not least of this not so rapid fire question.
Sorry.
No,
Oh my
no,
gosh,
it's
no. We love the detail.
I guess rapid fire sounds stressful. So, what book are you currently reading right now?
So my reading is really slow right now because I'm drafting a book. So I'm like, I know I'm like a mess, but I just started The Sweet Spot by Trish Dollar, which I guess will come out it comes out March 8th. So a week from now. And it is so good. I think Trish is like, she just writes contemporary romance that's so, I mean, talk about pull at your heartstrings. It's phenomenal, and she has amazing rep in it. And I just think it's fabulous. And I loved Float Plan, her adult debut and stuff. So I love it.
Cool.
Great.
Check
I'll
it
have to
out.
check that one out.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we're all warmed up, we're going to just jump right into the deeper questions. So here you go. Gird your loins, everybody. Has writing a book been something you've actively thought about for a long time? You know, we see a lot of people who have just this end goal of becoming an author, but you have a fully formed career that you're super passionate about in dentistry. So do you think you'll continue to do both?
Yeah,
That's kind of a double whammy question.
Yeah, no, I love it. Okay. So first of all, yes, I totally intend to do both until I can like retire and just write, because I would say that writing is the most fulfilled I've ever felt in my life. And I love dentistry, and I love helping people. But there's like, I think that there's like a lot of burnout that comes with, I mean, there's burnout with every career that you choose, but dentistry has a lot of burnout because, like, I don't know, you can't give everybody exactly what they want, like your patients and stuff. And so like you internalize a lot of that emotional stuff. But yeah, I fully intend to do both. And so there's that. But as far as like becoming an author, it was kind of always this like really, really far off, like 3 times removed alternative universe idea that I had for myself, right? Like I never thought it would be something that I could actually do. And I've always loved, I was like an only child. So I was always like telling myself stories, and I was always talking to myself, which, you know, like it's never like, you don't make a lot of friends when you're just like in the corner talking to yourself.
Oh no.
I mean, it's fine. Like we you know, we ended up okay. But yeah, I think it was like just not something that I ever thought I had the capability to actually pull off. And so I've always written things and like enjoyed the act of writing. And then eventually I finally finished a book, and I was like, oh, maybe I should like try to do something with this. And now A Brush with Love is coming out. So there's that.
Wow. It really all fell into place for you.
Yeah.
I love it.
I feel very, very lucky. A lot of people had to say yes, like in this process and stuff. And I'm so grateful for everybody that's like, you know, embraced my story and championed it on my like pub team and stuff. And yeah, I'm just like overflowing with gratitude.
Oh, I love that.
Is this the first manuscript you've sent out to publishers?
Yeah, it was the first thing I ever fully finished. So I have like a lot of, yeah.
Good for you.
Thank
Look
you.
at you. Get it. You got it.
I have like a lot of unfinished stuff, right? Like I have an entire desktop full of just like unfinished ideas. And I think for some reason, like Harper and Dan really spoke so loudly in my mind, and they kind of, the whole cast of characters really popped into my head very fully formed. And so it made the process of writing it easier than like other projects I had started and not finished and stuff like that. And so, yeah, this was like the first completed manuscript that, I did anything with, and I feel very lucky and very fortunate that it got picked up by an agent, and then my editor took a chance on it and stuff, and we had to do like a revise and resubmit on submission, where it's like she sent over the things that she would change about it, and then I had to like do with that what I will, and then she reconsidered and stuff, and so then we eventually got to this point that we're at now. But yeah, it was, it's been a whirlwind, but I feel very like incredibly fortunate.
That's amazing. And just thinking about, I feel like a lot of people don't really know what it's like starting out as an author. You hear about a lot of people after they're already like 20 times New York best-selling author who lives off of royalties from all of these books and stuff. But it really shows people who have that passion for writing. You don't have to sit all the time and be writing. You can have a career. Everybody who is successful now doing just that started off writing at night after they're done their 9 to 5 and everything like that. And I think a lot of people forget that aspect of it. They just think, oh, like overnight this thing is going to happen to me,
Of course. Yeah. And I think like social media kind of feeds into that too, right? Like we think like there's going to be this instant gratification thing.
It's really nice to be talking to you with your first book, because I feel like once you do more of these interviews and more books come out from you, you're going to start to get tired of hearing the same questions, but we get to be some of the first people to ask.
We're getting
you
in on the
these.
ground floor.
Yeah, listen, I will come on BYOB podcast anytime you guys want. Same questions every single time. I'm like,
oh my God.
Mark it right
What's
now.
your favorite color? Yeah.
It'll be like those like music interviews that they do every single year, and they ask the same questions to see how people have changed.
Oh yeah.
You know what? We're gonna time capsule it.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
But branching off of that idea of people like idolizing these authors and everything, which authors or books inspired you to become an author the most?
That's such a good question. Okay, so I'm like so I read a lot of contemporary and historical romance. And actually, you know what? I probably cut my teeth more on historical romance and was like really, really in that genre before I pivoted to contemporary. So like Lisa Kleypas and Tessa Dare and Bev Jenkins, like three all-stars in my mind.
Amazing.
Like I can never get over like their prose. Like Lisa Kleypas writes with like a certain sensuality about the wit, like with her prose and stuff like that, that I just admire so much. And like, I almost look at her books as like a study in craft almost, because she does such an incredible job of just giving you like a sense of place and everything. So, I mean, those three are like huge ones for me. And then on the contemporary side, obviously Christina Lauren, like, especially with their Wild Seasons series, like Sweet Filthy Boy. I don't know if you guys have read that, but literally Ansel could crack me in half like a glow stick, and I would thank him. I know, sorry.
Oh my!
I know.
We're
sorry.
all adults.
I just
I
went there
love
with
that.
it. But like truly,
Add
you
it
guys,
to my TBR.
seriously, it is so good. And so like okay, this is how good that book is. I read it and then I listened to it on audiobook, and I listened to it while I ran a half marathon. And like that's the only reason I finished a half marathon race, was because I was listening to that book. Like that
That's some praise.
Maybe this is what's going to get me into exercising.
Yes.
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't exercise anymore. Like that's a different phase. Like,
You're like, I made a personal best? Wow.
yeah, exactly. I was like,
Wow, I'm so sweaty.
I know.
Who knows?
It's hot in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, like, I think that they're so witty and so sharp and like so clever with what they do. And then Talia Hibbert, obviously, I think Meeting the Huntress was like my first Talia Hibbert book. And from that moment forward, I was just absolutely sold. And yeah, those are probably like my big ones.
Oh, amazing. I just read Lisa Kleypas for the first time this year, and I was just really struck by like her detail and just like everything about it was so well researched and sexy and like beautiful. And yeah, I was instantly in love.
She like literally once described like fingernails, and I was like, I have never felt like sexually aroused by fingernails before, but now I do. Like, you know, it's like she just has that power. She is a master.
A queen.
A queen, yeah.
Well, we have to mention another queen of the contemporary romance genre and world, Helen Huang.
Yeah.
How does it feel to have the Helen Huang, a huge voice with a wildly successful series that deals with neurodiversity and mental health? She not only read your work, but she champions it on the cover of your debut novel. Like, what was that like?
That was extremely surreal. I mean, honestly, all of my like kudos and thanks to Helen. I do think that she is one of like the best contemporary romance novelists that we have right now. And also she's just incredibly kind. Like I genuinely think that she's just a wonderful person. Actually reading The Kiss Quotient, kind of gave me like the final kick to actually finish A Brush with Love. It really inspired me to see somebody that really focused on neurodiversity and focused on like exploring mental health and you know, showing people that struggle but also have like profound love and are loved well and stuff like that. When my the way it all started is like when my deal announcement went live, like I posted on Twitter and I was just screaming, and somehow Helen saw it, and then she was like, oh, this sounds me, and I just no shame like slide into those DMs, and I was like, I'm obsessed with you in a safe way, but like
new opening line. Perfect.
Yeah. Like I kind of just started off like that with most people now, because I'm like, I come on strong, but you know, like I just really am a big fan. And she read the book, and it was the most like surreal experience, and I'm incredibly grateful for her generosity of her time and just like her kindness as a person and author. And Yeah, very, very, very wild.
We all love her here. We have a whole episode on her trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I bugged my husband to pick up a romance book because he's not really a reader. But I'm like, this will be fun. You should read a romance book.
Yeah.
And I was going to pick it for him. And then I thought, no, I'll have you pick. Like, you should have some kind of agency in this decision.
I guess.
He chose The Kiss Quotient. He said, I've heard you talk about this. It looks interesting. I'm like, oh, okay, great.
Oh
Can't wait to hear your thoughts.
I mean,
he has not finished yet, but
you have to keep me posted. I am obsessed with that, and that I love that journey for him, and I'm so excited. Like, that is honestly one thing that like sticks out in my head in that trilogy. I think about it almost every day. Is when in the bride test when who is it? Quan and Michael are telling Kai about like where the clit is and just like how they're giggling like little boys. And I think about that and it makes me cackle out loud, like at least once a day.
I love that.
What a beautiful moment.
Beautiful moment.
When we got the email about your book, we were looking at the front and through the press release and seeing the quote from Helen. We were like, yes, this is it. We need to say that we want this arc because we are obsessed with that series. So it was like, if Helen says this is good, we're gonna love it. It's for us. It was written for us. So great. Give it over.
Thank you, Helen. Truly.
So we've been talking and fangirling a lot about romance, and I just wanted to ask the natural question, which is, was romance always your preferred genre in terms of both writing and reading? And what other genres do you tend to gravitate towards? Like, maybe just speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm pretty diehard romance at this point.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so in high school, I read a ton of YA.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was, I mean, you know, YA romances are just like the gateway to regular romance for a lot of us.
Of course.
And you know, like, it's funny, like when I was in undergrad and stuff like that, I fell out of reading really hard, which, you know, looking back, I'm like, ugh, what a bummer. But yeah, it's like romance has always been my preferred genre. And then when I started dental school, I was having like such bad personal anxiety, and it was causing like massive insomnia. So I just wasn't sleeping, but I was reading like a romance a day. So, you know, like give and take, right? And so like, but truly, I think the genre is so special because it's this guaranteed happy ending, which is remarkable in and of itself. But then it also is just, it's so profound in the fact that we get to see different people falling in love in countless different ways, right? And I think that that's like such a special experience. And so like, that's why I'm like hugely grateful for the genre. Like, I think it lets us understand humans better and like explore that and everything. But, I mean, honestly, if it doesn't have like a romantic plot in it, I'm not generally reading it. I like fantasy and I like fantasy novels a lot, but again, I at least need a romantic subplot to be like in it, you know?
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, and I totally agree about the happily ever after is so important, especially I've been finding myself reading a lot of romance these last couple years. I don't know if you've known, but it's been really difficult for the world. And there's something about having a predictable happy ending and like watching people work through their stuff emotionally that's been so lovely and so needed.
So obviously this interview, we wanted to get to know you a lot more, but because we are doing this in honor of A Brush with Love, I feel like some questions about the book should happen, you know?
Probably.
So my personal favorite character, I was very partial to Lizzie, loved her, but also, like we talked about earlier, Judy with the booty was one of the highlights of this book for me. So were any of the characters inspired by people that you know in real life? And do you have a character that surprised you by being your favorite in the end?
Oh, what a great question. So none of the characters are necessarily like inspired by people that I know personally. In a lot of ways, like I was struggling when I wrote this book. Like I was almost having like a quarter life crisis, right? I was like, I was in my first or second semester of dental school. I was like, is this what I want to do with my life? Like, I'm so stressed and I'm so anxious, and like your world really shrinks when you're in a school that's so demanding. And so it was really like cathartic to write this book about people in a similar setting, finding, you know, a lot of joy and finding that happily ever after and stuff like that. But they were almost like the friend group and like the people that I was searching for at that time in my life. Yeah. And so they're so special to me. And, you know, I love all of them so much. And it really has been a very cool experience because they did come into my head very fully formed and like very unique, and just very like individual. Two is such a little troublemaker, and I love her for that. And like, I probably had the most fun with like writing her dialogue, and like she kind of just like would shock the hell out of me with like stuff that she would come up with and say, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're putting that on the page. And then Lizzie, really, she is a chaotic angel, and her book comes out in September.
I was very excited to see that the next book was about her, because
I want to know her love story.
Yeah, I don't know why, like, because she does play kind of more of a minor part in this book in terms of the friend group, but there was something about her from the first time we met her where I was like, I like this girl. I feel like I want to be her best friend.
And she's main character material.
Yeah, exactly.
She has big character energy, and God, does she like put it to use in her book. Sneak peek. Yeah, she's very fun, and like honestly, actually writing her story was probably the most fun I've had writing a book. Because it was kind of balls to the wall, and like she really is very wild, and that was fun. And then I mean, God, okay, so here's the thing, this is like insider info, but book 3 also has a cat. And so Big Booty Judy is Harper's cat, if you ever read the book. But Indira gets a cat, and the cat's name is Granny, and it's like the exact opposite of Big Booty Judy in just like the most chaotic way you could think of, like small, wiry, just like mangy, and so we'll have to talk then and be like, you know, who pit them against each other.
Do we have an upcoming like cat sapphic romance?
Oh my God.
Like, honestly, I feel like I could do it. Like with all the monster romances coming out, like,
right?
Yeah.
Like if it's like Aristocat style, it's not bizarre. Hello. If it's a cat and they're both actually cats.
And they're in love?
Yeah.
I want to read it.
Yeah.
Fun for the whole family.
It's fun for the whole, and it's wholesome, you know? Like,
Yes.
Coming up with all sorts of ideas in this pod. What a
God.
brainstorm.
We need to have these weekly meetings, so like this is overcoming all my writer's block.
No, your agent is going to listen to this, and she's going to be like, you can never talk to those girls ever again. They're totally going to destroy your rep. Or she'll be like, get them on the payroll.
Yeah. Come on.
I mean, I'll just spitfire like 10 bad ones, and you pick which one you like. We'll just...
You know, I honestly think that it would just be effective for all of us to maybe like quadruple write a romance together, and then like we just go from there.
Ready?
That won't get confusing at all.
My dream?
Yeah. So, as you just mentioned, your second book, Lizzie Blake's Best Mistake, has already been announced that it's coming out later this year. We're so excited. Can you tell us a little bit about what we can look forward to with this book, if you're allowed?
Yes, I am allowed. Like, the back cover copy's out there, so like now I can finally talk about it. Oh my God, she is so weird. She gets involved in this underground erotic baking scheme. I know. And she focuses on the yonic form, like instead of like the phallic form. So it's like vulvas, like croissants, and like macarons, like with areolas and stuff. Like, I mean, she's just wild, and she gets wrapped up in that. And
already perfect.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. And the book like chronicles kind of the consequences of a 2-night stand that has like really lasting repercussions. So Lizzie does get accidentally pregnant, and her and her baby daddy is Australian because like naturally we need the accent, right? Yeah. Yeah. And his name's Rake. So like, yeah.
Yes.
What?
I just got a frisson just hearing that just
Yeah,
now.
I know. And she just like roasts the hell out of him too for that name. She's like, because she reads romance. Obviously, Lizzie is a big romance reader. And so it kind of just looks at, so Lizzie has ADHD too. And I had so much fun with her story and like her journey to really defeating like a lot of feelings of like internalized ableism about the way her brain is wired and embracing like when she functions the best and stuff like that. And it really was just such a blast to read. They are just nuts. They get into some of the weirdest situations, like, and it's so funny because Rake is so stuffy too. So they're very, very different. And it's only one bed. It's a studio apartment with no doors, only one shower. You know, like it couldn't be more forced proximity. No. Oh gosh.
Oops.
Oopsies. Walked in on you. Oh my gosh. No doors.
Wow.
So I really am so excited about that one too. And of course Harper and Dan make little cameos in there. Can't leave them out. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Whenever I pull out a croissant from the oven at work, I'm just going to picture the vulva croissant that you mentioned.
You must. Honestly, I need somebody to figure out how to bake all of these creations because I've been banned from the kitchen. I've set like a couple too many. I've ruined a couple too many like batches of cookies. My boyfriend's like, you can't anymore. Like we can't afford the increase in renter's insurance, but like if somebody else could like figure out how to do it, that'd be
Sounds
awesome.
like he signed up since he kicked you out. Let's get to it.
I know. Right? Exactly. I'm like, okay, well, you better figure it out. You better do it.
Something we all connected to in the story was the representation of the main character, Harper's struggles with mental health. Do you think the publishing industry is moving towards more inclusive neurodiverse stories?
I do. And I'm very excited and hopeful about like the industry and the books that they're putting out and stuff like that. And I personally feel very like humbled and honored to be able to write about various neurodiverse characters. But I think that there's like so many romances now that are just offering kind of like marginalized voices leading roles in novels, which I think is so huge and important. And it's also kind of like, finally, you know, like Chloe Lisa, she's, oh my God.
Yeah. I read my first book of hers this past Christmas and I loved it.
She is so brilliant. And she writes a lot of neurodiverse characters. She's autistic. And Berkeley picked up her book, and I believe, as far as I know, it's coming out in November, but she has two main characters that are autistic and their love story and stuff. And I think that there's just like the doors are opening for these marginalized voices to be the main characters of these stories, which is so huge and makes such a difference in so many people's lives, and like being able to see themselves in characters and stuff like that. And like, you know, so I'm autistic, I have ADHD, anxiety, like a whole bag of fun going on up there. But like, you know, it makes such a difference, to see characters that like I can relate to kind of on that level and stuff like that. And like, I think Helen Wong was a huge pioneer in that. And I'm just so glad at how many more voices we're getting to hear from and stuff in publishing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We talked a lot in our Kiss Quotient episode about how it's really nice to see people who are neurodivergent, who are part of the autism community, show healthy relationships, that people who are autistic enjoy sex. If they don't, like some people don't, but also people who are not autistic sometimes don't enjoy sex. That's not like an inherent trait of somebody who has these things going on. also not everybody who is neurodivergent is the same. And so that was something that was really great. I connected a lot with the second book, The Bride Test, and reading all of these things that Kai was going through. I was like, oh my God, this is me. I never read a book where I could pinpoint things so easily to say, this is exactly how I feel in this situation. So I'm personally very excited for the Lizzie book to come out. And it is really, really nice to see that people are going to be able to read about this and actually maybe understand what somebody with these things going on in their mind is actually feeling.
Yeah, and I think it's really powerful to see these, neurodivergent characters be loved so well too,
Absolutely.
and and that's what makes such a difference is like, it really does show that like, it kind of removed like the, how do you say that?
Infantilization?
Thank you. Yes, that one. Go you, Tilly. It kind of removes that and like shows them as autonomous people with desires and needs and wants and being loved like very fully and very well. And yeah, I mean, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And past due, obviously.
Yes.
With this being your first novel that's coming out, what was the biggest surprise for you during the whole journey of publishing and editing and everything?
Oh God, every step of the way was like a huge, I was like, what the, can I swear?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
What
my
the
God,
fuck? It
swear
was like,
away.
oh, thank you. It was just like constantly like, what the fuck? In like a fun way most of the time. But I think, what's really interesting is how long you honestly wait for a lot of stuff to happen. Like I started writing A Brush with Love in January 2019, and here we are, March 2022, and it's finally releasing. Yeah. And so like, that's wild, right? Like that's such a long time. And so I think like that was a huge learning curve, but then, now things are like tipping on their head and like things are really moving really rapidly because I guess I have like 5 books coming out over the next 2 years.
Oh my God.
I know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm
tired just hearing that.
I know. I'm like, again, what the fuck? Like,
In a fun way.
Yeah, in a fun way. Like, who do I think I am doing this? But like, yeah, so it's just like, it's a constant roller coaster. And I think like, one thing that was, it was surprising, kind of like in a hard way, and took like a lot of growth or like just a lot of personal reflection and stuff. Is like when you release a book out to the world, in a lot of ways it stops being yours and it becomes the reader's.
Sure.
And I think I've learned to kind of let go of my character. It almost feels like what I imagine a mother sending her kid off to college feels like, where it's like they become somebody else's, or like, letting, seeing them enter relationships or stuff like that, where it's like they were so deeply personal and for a long time just mine, and now other people are interacting with them and seeing them and like having their own experiences with Harper and Dan and all the characters. And at first it was hard not to be like possessive about it or like defensive, but now I just feel so excited that like they get to, people get to go on that journey with them, and that people are willing to spend their time with them and stuff. So yeah, it's all just a very humbling experience.
I love that. I think about that a lot, writing and reading so much, is that you really do, as a reader, take all sorts of different things from a book that the author might not have even put in there. And it's such a beautiful like relationship that you can have with a reader and an author, but it's also hard, I imagine, as the author to have created this in like exactly how you want it. And it could be totally different to someone else, or it could be completely the same but their own. It's like this weird dual experience. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's unique for sure. And I feel very like I mean I'm just like, I feel very lucky to even get the chance to experience this and stuff, but it's weird,
Totally. Yeah.
I think we can all relate in some way to some of the sentiments you're talking about, like all 3 of us being in the arts. I think a lot of people, like, they don't really think about writing or like the book industry as being part of the arts, but I'm like, clearly is. Like, it is art. Like, you're creating something, you know? And it's always hard when you create something to let it go after, right? So, like, I think we can all relate in some way to, like, I took a part of me, I expanded it, I hope you like it. Here you go, you know, and just let it go in the stream, right? Like, so
that's so beautifully said. That's like exactly it.
But thank you for sharing with the world, because then we got to read it, you know? So
I was personally thrilled to see a recently released title of a book of yours, seeing as I share a name with one of your heroines, which never happens to me, by the way. Can you tell us something about your upcoming book release, Tilly's Great Escape?
Okay, literally though, like when I saw that your name was Tilly, I screeched. I was so excited because I was like, oh my God. But yeah, so that Tilly's Great Escape is, I get to write YA, which I'm so jazzed about.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, so this is a YA novel. It's coming out with Wednesday Books, which is another imprint with St. Martin's and Macmillan and blah blah blah. But it is another kind of like madcap story, and it chronicles Tilly, who is she's a Clevelander, and she just turned 18, and she also has ADHD, and she's kind of come to this realization that like she struggled so much in school with like executive functioning and stuff like that she doesn't want to go to college, and she doesn't want to take that kind of very traditional path that we expect people to take. And so she goes on this trip to Europe with her older sister, who is like very, you know, in every sense of the word, like perfect and put together, and like, you know, a huge academic achievements and stuff like that. And on the way, in like a series of just like absolute chaos and like the most meet cute disasters that you could think of, she meets Ollie, who is the hero of the story, and Ollie's autistic, and the pair end up having to travel around Europe together, and they couldn't be more opposite. I was cackling sometimes writing this pairing, because like they are so different. Like he's so buttoned up and she is just so like wild. But they have a series of disasters through Europe. So it's like kind of a road trippy sort of romance too, in that way. And then they kind of just learn to love themselves and love each other, as all romances do. But yeah, I am so jazzed about that one. And it was really fun to write YA. I was intimidated because I was like, I don't think I'm cool enough to write to the youth.
I feel like you are. I'm not a youth anymore, but I will say that you are cool enough to write for the youth.
You know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. And you know what? I'm going to like internalize that. And then that's going to be my new mantra. Like I could write.
Yeah, just repeat it to yourself.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
I mean, the problem is I still only have skinny jeans, and like I'm mad that that's the case. I just haven't had time to get like new jeans. But you know, outside of that, I have a middle part now, so I'm like halfway there.
You're hip. That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah. Well, that sounds so wonderful. I can't wait to read that, and I honestly never see my name in books, so I'm delighted.
Yeah. Her name's Tilly Twomley, which like kind of like a superhero name, right?
Yeah.
Watch, once this comes out, Tilly's gonna have it like framed on her wall. Her like picture on top of the picture of like Tilly's face.
Oh my God. Should we do that?
If you don't, I will do it for you, because I think it's just like you can't miss that opportunity.
No. You need to like, we should get like Tilly dolls, and like and it's your face, and like I guess we should just make dolls of all three of you, and like BYOB dolls and stuff, but
oh my God. Get the marketing team. Just kidding. We don't have a marketing team.
We're the whole team.
Kelly, can you do it?
Someone's gonna put pins in those. Okay, I'm like
I was literally just gonna say there's gonna be somebody who's gonna use them like a voodoo doll, because we say a lot of very opinionated things on this podcast, and there are definitely people who are listening, and they're like, nope, that's
dare
not
you
it.
not like this book, you know? Like, okay. We just recorded the Diviners, so I'm like thinking about the spooky stuff. I'm like, they're gonna stick a pin in me, and I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna be like, oh, I have a headache suddenly. Is it the weather?
Okay.
No.
Scratch the dolls. We're not doing the dolls, but we will get you.
We'll get something.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. Just like now, I'm just like afraid of dolls.
Yeah, I'm gonna have nightmares, so thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Well, during our podcast, each of us always gives a book recommendation of something we think that our listeners would like to read if they like the book that we reviewed. Mazey, do you have a recommendation for everyone today if they read A Brush with Love and want more of the same fun energy?
Oh gosh, I almost feel like a tool, like even comping my book to any of the ones that I like, because it's like, who am I to be like, oh yeah, go read like the Kiss Quotient if you like that, like, like what a douchebag, right? Like, I would say, honestly, God, there's so many amazing authors out there, but I think Chloe Lisa, again, one of my favorite authors of all time. Like, her Bergman series is phenomenal. And she has her book, Two Wrongs Make a Right, coming out in November from Berkeley. And I really can't recommend her enough. And she is like a really fun, really, really witty. She has like a lot of pranks and hijinks and stuff like that. So, I would say she would be, I recommend her to everybody. So that's my take on it.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this very special episode of the Bring Your Own Book podcast. And a huge, huge thank you to Mazey for talking with us today. I had so much fun. I hope you had fun.
I had the best time. I'm like, my cheeks hurt from laughing and grinning so hard.
Mine
too, actually. Yeah.
If you like what you're hearing and want to hear more from us, please go and follow us on our social media pages. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Mazey, where can people follow your work?
Okay, so my website is mazeyeddings.com and my Instagram handle is @MazeyEddings. This gets weird, but my Twitter and my TikTok are @FoxyGrandpa27, which is not like,
I love that.
I know. It's like, it's 100% due to like the SpongeBob episode where he has like the hat that's like World's Foxy's Grandpa, but I probably should change that eventually, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Oh, God.
I love that. We will link you down below so we can find you everywhere.
Again, thank you so much for joining us today, Mazey. We had such a fun time talking. I feel like I need to immediately, I wish all your books were out right away so I could read them all right away. Unfortunately, we have to wait just a little bit. But in the meantime, today is March 1st, which is the release of A Brush with Love. Woohoo! Yeah. So go out to your local bookstore and scoop one up before they're all sold out. Until next time, keep on drinking in great stories. Cheers!